Okay.
Okay guys, good afternoon. Our topic is juvenile delinquency and juvenile justice system. So, what is juvenile delinquency? Juvenile delinquency, it refers to an anti-social acts or behaviors committed by minors which are contrary to the norms of society. It refers to a minor who below 18. And then it involves oftentimes misdemeanor, but may include also offense and felonies. So take note, under RA 9344, juvenile delinquents are now called child in conflict with the law. Crime versus delinquency. First, crime is an act committed by an adult. An act that breaks criminal code which is created by society through written law. Second is, a person who committed a crime can be dealt with in accordance with the criminal justice system. Delinquency are acts committed by minors, and acts that merely breaks cultural law or norms. And the last is, a child is under the process known as juvenile justice system.
Okay, next. House of Corrections for Juvenile Delinquents. So there are 3 House of Corrections. Those are Bride Wheels, Hospice or San Michel, and House of Refuge. So the Bride Wheels it was the first houses of corrections in England. They could find both children and children and adults considered to be idle and disorderly. So the second is Hospice of St. Michael. St. Michael was established in 1704. So it is discovered by John Howard, a reformer, brought to England from Rome, a model of the first institution for treating juvenile offenders. He was often thought of as the father of prison reform. So the last one is the House of Refuge. It was situated in New York in 1885. It was meant to house juvenile delinquents who were defined in its charter as youths convicted of criminal offenses or found in vagrancy. By the middle of the 19th century, many states either built reform schools or converted their houses of refuge to reform schools. The reform schools emphasized formal schooling, but they also retained large workshops and continued the contract system of labor.
Significant cases concerning juvenile delinquency. So there are five concerning juvenile delinquency. One is enremmenship. It established proof beyond a reasonable doubt as the standard for juvenile adjudication proceedings, eliminating lesser standards such as preponderance of the evidence, clear and convincing proof, and reasonable proof. They established that the jury trial is not a required part of due process in the adjudication of the youth as delinquent by the juvenile court. This involves juvenile name Samuel Lindsay. Number 2, Reed B. Jones. It recognizes that a juvenile cannot be adjudicated in a juvenile court and then tried for the same offense in adult crime court or double jeopardy. Kent v. United States. It provides that procedural requirements for waiver to criminal court as articulated by the U.S. Supreme Court. Henry Gold. The court held that juvenile court must provide the basic procedural protection that the Bill of Rights guarantee to adults, including timely advance notice of the charges, the right either detained or appointed counsel, confrontations, and cross-examinations of adverse witnesses, self-incrimination, and the right to remain silent. The opinion also rejected the basic premise of juvenile court actions, that the proceedings are civil in nature and those minors' rights are adequately protected by the judges acting as substitute parents. Number 5, 1977 American Bar Association. It endorsed the criminalization of status offenses, urging that juvenile delinquency liability should include any such conduct as would be significant a crime committed by an adult. In the 1980s, many training schools and high security institutions were built in rural areas or close to small rural towns so the inmates could be trained in agriculture. The hope was that much training will produce productive citizens. Number 6, Shelby Martin, 1984. The Supreme Court upheld the state right to place juveniles in preventive detention. Preventive detention was perceived as fulfilling a legitimate state interest of protecting society and juveniles by detaining those who might be dangerous to society or to themselves.
Types of delinquent youth. Type 4 type of delinquent. Social and aggressive. Social and aggressive youth who possess the ability of meet and involve friends children. Number 2, the neurotic. He has internalized these conflicts and preoccupied with his own feelings. Number 3, social. This delinquent cannot afford total physical quality for which they often know most. Number 4, accidental. It is less identifiable and this character essential socialized property. So what else to be at around this time becomes involved in some delinquent aspect, not typical of this general message.
Next, the five stages of delinquency. First is emergence. The child begins with a equivalency between 8 and sometimes 12 years exploration. He or she then moves on to shoplifting and vandalism between ages 12 to 14. Disclosure. At age 13 up, there is a substantial increase in variety of seriousness. Conflagration. At around 15 up, 4 or more types of crimes are added. Outbursts. Those who continue on adulthood will progress into more sophisticated or more violent forms of criminal behavior.
The next is classification of delinquency. There are 3 types of delinquency. There are 3 kinds of classification of delinquency. First is unsocialized aggression. So, unsocialized aggression is gifted or abandoned children when committed and become aggressive. So, second is socialized delinquency. So, socialized delinquency is membership of fraternities or groups that advocate bad things. Last is over-inhibited. So, over-inhibited is a group specifically trained to do illegal activities like marijuana, prostitution, or other things. So, next.
Different approach toward delinquency. There are 3 different approaches toward delinquency. First, eugenics approach. Eugenics views the law welfare as a person who misconduct is the result of conflict biology. The offender
body structure are filament pattern produce blueprint. Second, psychogenic approach. It tells us that a builder behaves as she or he does in response to psychological pathology of subtype. The critical casual factors for delinquency are personal problems, to which juvenile behavior is shown to be a response. Third, is estrogenic, sociogenic approach. Osteogenic attributes the variation in delinquency patterns during social structures. They account for individual offender by preference process, which go all in youth gang, privatizing contracts with social control agencies and other variable types.
Predisposing factors. Inclination or inherited propensity, which cannot be considered a criminal one unless there is a probability that crime will be committed. Number two, precipitating factor, elements which provokes crimes or factors that are signified to the everyday adjustments an individual, like personal problems, necessities, imitation, curiosity, ignorance, and disease.
There are three types of delinquent gangs by Cloward and Owen. The three types of delinquents are the criminal gang, the conflict or violent gang, and the retreatist gang. So the criminal gang, it is emerged in areas where conventional as well as non-conventional values of behavior are integrated with a close connection of legitimate and legitimate business. So this type gang is that it is stable than the ones to follow. So it is the older criminals na serve as a role model and they give necessary criminal skills to the younger. The conflict violent gang, so it is a non-stable and non-integrated. So it is the absence of criminal organization resulting in instability. So these gangs aims to find the toughness and the destructive of violence. So the last one is the retreatist gang. It is unsuccessful in legitimate as well as legitimate means. They are known as double failures, thus retreating into a world of sex, drugs, and alcohol.
Factors affecting juvenile delinquency. So there are five factors affecting juvenile delinquency. Number one, individual risk factors. Individual, psychological, or behavioral risk factors that may make offending more likely include intelligence, impulsiveness, or the inability to delay gratification, aggression, empathy, and restlessness. Children with low intelligence are likely to do worse in school. This may increase the chance of offending because low educational attainment, a low attachment to school, and a low educational aspirations are all these factors for offending in themselves. Children who perform poorly at school are also more likely to front, which is also linked to offending. Number two, family.
Family is the first and basic institution in our society. Developing the tribe's potential in all its many aspects like emotional, intellectual, moral, and spiritual, as well as physical and social. It is within the family that the child must learn The third is desires in exit rules that define the time, place, and circumstances under acceptable space. The following are some of causes where some of the child becomes juvenile as influence their own family. A. The faulty development of the child. B. Lack of parental guidance. C. Lack of love and instincts of hate or anger with the unfair treatment. D. Parental rejection. E. Broken home. F. Parental abuse or neglect. G. Criminal parents or siblings.
3. Environment. It is where the child influences after his first highly formative years. Youth in the community turns to become delinquent with companions. Youth today accuse those ahead of them for failure to define how to live both honorably and successfully in a world that is changing too rapidly for anyone to comprehend. Together, they now become a victim of their own environment. Their attitudes, thus, tastes, ambitions, behavior are imitated or have been already influenced by those antisocial acts. Recognized in their environment, some of these causes are the following. A. Associations with criminal groups or gangs. B. Alcoholism and drug addiction. C. Impose of fear. D. Crime including situations that cause criminalistic tendencies. C. Imitated instinct like selfishness, violence, and antisocial wishes.
So, next is the theories of literacy. We are 13. So first is social disorganized theory. Disorganized theory was recognized early in 20th century by sociologist Clifford Henry Henry. So according this is to social disorganized theory is disorganized areas cannot exert social control over active output. These areas can be identified by their relatively high level of change, fear, instability, sensibility, poverty, and deterioration. And these factors have a direct influence on the area's delinquency rate. So, number 2, anomy theory. Anomy theory is advocated by Emil Durkheim. Breakdown of social orders as a result of loss of standards and values that replace social cohesion. So, nomos is loss or standard, and anomy is refers to the breakdown of norms. So, number 3 is So number 3 is strength theory. This theory is assumed that children are physically good only under pressure to the defiant. For defiance comes from their living internalized society goals such as being successful and wanting to achieve them. But many cannot become successful by conforming to society's role out of desperation due to crime. So, according to sociologist Robert Merton, although most people share common values and goals, that means for legitimate economic and social success are stratified by socio-economic class. So, consequently, these youth may either use deviant methods to achieve the goals or reject socially accepted goals and substitute deviant ones. So, according to Albert Kuwait, explained why urban lower class boys commit delinquency. He began by identifying characteristics of delinquents. They are malicious, characteristics of delinquency are malicious, negativistic, non-utilitarian, versatile, loyal, and cannot defer gratification when blames delinquency or frustration experienced by children because of their low status and their ability to live up the middle class standard. Delinquency is the consequence of children expressing their frustration toward middle class norm and institution. So next is according by Richard Cloward and Lloyd Olin, blame it on the disparity between the children are tough to want and what is available to them. So children join delinquent gangs to achieve success, but because their legitimate path is blocked, they turn illegitimate means in the form of delinquency, and later on it was called as differential opportunity theory. So next is the differential operation theory by John G. Hewitt and Robert Spigula. He proposed that much serious juvenile delinquency is a product of the operation of children by adults, particularly within the context of family. The maltreatment of children has been found to be highly correlated with both serious and moderated delinquency as well as other problem behaviors. This theory argues that adult perception of children forced youth into socially defined and controlled inferior roles, including the socially constructed juvenile delinquency, role that separate youthful and adult offenders to treatment and control. So, the differential association theory. The differential association theory asserts that criminal behavior is learned primarily within interpersonal groups and that youth will become delinquent if definition they have learned favorable to violating the law exceeds definition favorable to avoid the law within the group. This theory was introduced by Edwin Sutherland. Example, the family may serve as a training ground for violence since the child perceived physical punishment as the norm during conflict situation with others. So next please.
Six, social learning theory. This theory views that behavior is modeled through observation rather than intimate contact with others or directly through media. Interactions that are rewarded are copied, whereas those that are punished are avoided. Drift theory or neutralization theory. It proposed that juvenile sins a moral obligation to be bound by the law. Such a bind between the person and the law remains in place most of the time, they argue. When it is not in place, delinquents will drift. Leveling theory, social reaction theory. Crime is caused by societal reactions to behavior, which include exposure to juvenile justice system. One children are labeled delinquent, they become delinquent. Social control theory. This perspective states that members in society form bonds with other members in society or institution in society, such as parents, close social friends, and churches, schools, teachers, and sports teams. The social bonds include the ties and affection that develop between children and key people in their lives to implement the social norms, behavior, and succeed in regards to such values are given good education. A good job and being successful improvement in activities, and finally, that most persons are grown up to believe in and respect the law.
Number 10, self-derivation theory, introduced by Kaplan, states that all motivated to maximize our self-esteem, motivation to control and to conform will be minimized by fun, school, and peer interactions that we value our sense of self. Interactions and behavior will be self-decreasing or self-enhancing. Self-control theory, in short, self-control theory suggests that deviance simply results from the individual's inability to effectively control his/her impulses. Self-control theory argues that it is the absence of self-control rather than the presence of some force or factor, such as poverty, economy, opportunities for deviance, delinquent pairs, exposure to definitions favorable to deviance. It is that leads to deviance. Cultural deviance theory links delinquent acts to the formation of independent subcultures, a unique set of values that clash with the mainstream culture. This theory argues that children learn deviant behavior socially through exposure to others and modeling of others' actions. And the last, rational choice theory. They argue in many cases deviance is a result of highly calculation of risks and awards. Prospective deviance with their own chance of gain against the risk of getting caught and thereby decide a course of action. Juveniles, however, do not always choose the most rational actions. Their values are different from adults and their motives are different from an adult criminal. Adolescents are also notorious for not thinking before they act. This action which constitute delinquency may come as a result of acting against authority or to rebel against cultural norms and rules. And that's all.